I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, Tris.
It's fine,
Everybody's
man.
sorry. Everybody's sorry.
It's not the unapologetic, it's the apologetic interview.
You got a title. The YouTube title for this video needs to be like an apology to our fans.
So I have the fine gentlemen that are Alexander Jones and Kyle Beam with me of Undeath. How are you guys?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. You know, surviving. We've got like this insane storm which is on the way. So I don't know if it's going to be as snowy as it is where you guys are, but I'm sure it'll be pretty wet and windy. I basically, like, no shade on this, right? I wanted to ask, but did you guys expect the level of insanity that Legions had?
No,
definitely no, not at all. Not at all. No.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was awesome. I think all of us were just trying to write something good that we would be proud of, and I think we were all hoping that like our friends and family would like it, and then things just kind of exploded. So I think I don't think any of us could have possibly anticipated the response that it got.
And you know, it was the album that people just could not stop talking about that year.
It gave people something to talk about in that, like, everything sucked ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, for sure. And
I was glad we could make a couple people happy.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, the vinyl pressings alone, you guys were like, guys, we can't press any more vinyl. We can't keep up with the demand.
Yeah, I think that was just us, like, very understandably, like, just not knowing how many people were going to want it, you know, because I think the initial run, we were going to do like 500 total vinyl LPs. And then I remember the day that the pre-orders went up, Steve from Prosthetic hit us up like an hour before everything went live. And he was like, yeah, you know, somehow I've already sold like 150 of these things, like, and the record's not even announced yet. And that was kind of one of the moments where I realized, like, oh shit, maybe this is going to be much bigger than we thought it was going to be.
Oh, that's such a great problem to have, though, man.
Yeah, it is.
True.
And
True.
I think this time around we tried to just press as many as we possibly could so that everybody could get a chance at owning one, so we didn't have to keep cycling through pressings of 100 over and over and over again.
Oh, so that kind of brings me to my next question, was like, were you guys kind of nervous penning It's Time, Rise from the Grave?
Oh, took a drink of water as soon as you asked the question. That was really professional.
It's all good, man. Don't worry.
Nervous? I don't know. I don't think so. I think there was a little bit of anxiety and maybe just a little bit of anticipation about getting it out there and seeing what the response was going to be. But I mean, like, I sound like a football coach when I say this, but like, I trust my guys. You know, I trust my team. I know that we're going to go out there and do the best that we can do. So I was mostly just excited. I don't know, Kyle. What do you think?
I was pretty nervous just because it's definitely the longest that we've sat on a finished record. I mean, we had the Masters in May, I think. So I mean, it was not quite a year, but like 8 months or whatever of like waiting. And you know, you just like listen to it, and you listen to it a different day, and you're like, oh, I don't know about this one actually. And then it's just, you know, it's just like this crazy cycle. So it just feels good to have it out, really.
Yeah, I would personally, I would go through cycles where I would listen to the album and I would be like, this is the fucking greatest album anyone's ever made. And then I would sit on it for a week and then I'll go back to it and I feel like, what have we done? I don't know about this. But then towards the end, like when we were really starting to ramp up to announce it, I was like, no, I feel good about this. I think people are going to like it.
That's awesome. Because did you guys, you didn't really get to tour Legions all that much, right? You did that tour, the Up From the Sewers tour, is that right?
Yeah. We did we did like 2 little long weekend runs before Legions came out, and then I mean, yeah, we dropped Legions right in the middle of the freshman year of COVID. So, you know, we didn't have any opportunities to tour, and the big Up From the Sewer tour that we did with Black Dahlia Murder was, I mean, that was the first time we had really played any of those songs live for an audience before.
Wow. How did it kind of go down? Was it like rammed?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was just like a pretty big jump from like the shit that we were used to playing at that point. You know, I mean, like Undeath really hadn't played a lot of shows leading up to that Black Dahlia Murder tour. And, you know, we were playing 150 cap bars and clubs and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, around the Spot Dahlia Murder Tour, granted, we're the opening band, but still, it's like every night I felt like we were playing to nearly sold out, if not sold out crowds, like an hour after the doors opened. And
Wow.
we're talking like 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 cap rooms. Like it was a huge leap from what we were accustomed to, but it was awesome, man. I mean, we fucking loved that tour. We had an amazing time.
Tell me about, let's call it Grave. What was it like writing and tracking it?
Kyle, you wrote most of it, baby. You tell me.
Well, we freaking started like right after Legions, like we always do, kind of like, we finish up a thing and just start the next one, really. So we started it. And I honestly think that the first riff written for the record was like the opening. I think it's the first riff on the record, the Fiend for Corpse's chorus riff. And I think that's definitely the oldest one. I don't know, but I had a lot of time to write because of COVID. I got fired March 16th, 2020, which is like the day that I feel like half of America got fired. So I just didn't have a job for mad long. I just wrote. Nah, I don't know. Tracking was cool. It was stressful because of COVID. Like, we had to provide 5 negative tests for the studio, obviously, but we wound up getting like someone got positive, so we had to wait and postpone studio time.
Oh no!
And we like ran the risk of like losing our deposit. Like it was like really stressful. So
we got it done. We surmounted all of the obstacles ultimately, and I feel like when we were recording the album, like Kyle said, there were tons of stressful circumstances that led up to it. But I feel like once we were actually in the studio, the only thing that really reminded me that there was a pandemic happening was the fact that we all had to wear masks the entire time. And but I feel like other than that, it was a pretty standard like recording experience.
Yeah, it was very lax. Yeah. Chill.
Because like your output is like crazy. How have you got another album ready to go? Like,
just because so honestly, just is because we waited a little bit to put out the first demo. So like we just got ahead. So we've just been ahead writing. Still are. I don't know. I just don't really like to stop writing because I feel like I'll get, it's like I'll get worse at it or whatever. It's like any kind of physical skill, like you need to kind of do it all the time or it like diminishes. So
where do you find inspiration in lyrics? Like obviously it's like horror themed and things like that, but what is it kind of like your own twisted mind, or is it like horror movies or what?
It's Kyle's twisted mind, dude. He writes most of the lyrics too.
No way,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I just like to do that because I think that like when you're like writing the song and you're like, okay, you put all the riffs together and then it's like, okay, how many times is each riff going to repeat? I have no idea because there's no lyrics. There's no vocal part. Like there's no part of, it's not a song yet, really. It's just like a collection of riffs. So I like to be able to do that together at the same time, put the riffs and the lyrics together, and also be able to edit, if like I need to, like I could change. I don't have to step on anyone's toes to be like, oh, do you mind if we like, cut this bar here or something? I think it'll make the vocal part better. Cause like really that's also what I'm all about, is just trying to have like banging good vocal parts, not just like whole notes for like the whole song and shit like that.
Yeah, and pretty much like my experience writing lyrics in any band before Undeath was just like the band had the song and then I sat down and I wrote what I thought might be cool lyrically, and then I just kind of like laid that on top of the song with no real knowledge or understanding of like
it's a completely valid way of doing it. I feel like most people, like most bands, do that. Which I mean,
I'm so enjoying not doing that. Like,
true.
It is totally valid. You're right, but I it's been like such a relief in Undeath to like just let somebody like Kyle take the wheel with a lot of with the vast majority of like the lyrical and vocal like ideas, just because I trust the man's vision. I'm not trying to gas him up, but I think he knows what he's doing, and 9 times out of 10 when he presents me something, I'm like, yeah, that's sick, let's roll with it.
let's move on to artwork then. So what's going on the cover?
Great question.
Well, just like Legions, we wanted to like represent visually, just like, you know, lyrics from the record, really, song titles, stuff like that. Not even in like a coherent story type of way, just like it's got a lot there. Like the guy's head is exploding into 7 different pieces, and then he's also reading the book, which is like the book from Defiled again, Book of the Damned. And then the portals are like necrobionic shit, and then Rise from the Grave with like the guys coming out of the graves, blah blah blah, just like shit like that. It's got the lightning on the cover. We put the thunder in Rise from the Grave, and we decided definitely the record cover needs fucking lightning for that. So just like a visual representation of the music. I feel like you can. People say like you look at a cover and you know what you're going to get, but I think you actually could look at this cover and know exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah, all the little key details and stuff that he just pointed out. I feel like I like to joke about it and call it the Undeath cinematic universe because I feel like everything in our songs is always like just so represented. It's represented so well on the covers, and I think it's something that we definitely strive for as a band.
But it's also, you know, I think particularly, you know, his style is so recognizable. Like there's nothing out there like it for me personally.
True.
Yeah,
I agree.
I 100% agree with that.
Because, you know, you've got
It's
like,
awesome to have.
Go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say something about Nightjar. It's all good, man. Don't worry.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, Tris.
It's fine,
Everybody's sorry. Everybody's sorry.
This is
Right,
this is
anyway.
going to be the sorry interview. The apologetic. It's not the unapologetic. It's the apologetic interview.
You got a title. The YouTube title for this video needs to be like an apology to our fans.
It was about how your you know, your artwork is so distinctive and it has such a particular style about it, basically.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when Matt drew. I want to say that the Demo 19 cover was drawn before the very first logo, but I'm not sure. But whatever the first piece of artwork Matt sent me was, because I didn't know that he did art. He just said he would do it, and I didn't know if it was going to be good or not. But it actually turned out to be extremely sick. So we've always just rolled with it.
Yeah, Matt's a fucking wizard when it comes to this shit. You know, like I don't think, like Kyle said, I don't think any of us really anticipated like how extremely talented of a like visual artist he was. And I think like every release, I mean, he's on all of our covers so far, so I feel like every release he just surprises us a little bit more.
Yeah, it's awesome. But I was actually going to ask about, you mentioned the crack of lightning, and that like instantly made me think of, you know, like Obituary, the classics, and like, but what is it that makes like 90s death metal so appealing to you guys?
Well, it's not even necessarily 90s. I would even say like the death metal that was like 1989. I don't know. I just really like how much more like heavy metal influence those bands were. Like I think that like it just kind of lends itself to like more fucking dope, memorable songwriting that isn't just like a 5-minute linear Suffocation song. Even though, you know, like Suffocation is one of my favorite bands. I just Undeath just doesn't sound like Suffocation.
I think we all have like love and appreciation for the classics, you know. Like I think when the band started, that was kind of the shit. Most of the stuff that we bonded over was like early death metal type stuff, because that was kind of the like the guiding influence in a lot of our playing, and it was like the stuff that we could talk about the most collaboratively musically. And I think bottom line, most of that shit is just dope. Like
yeah, it's all really good.
It's just really good music. It's like
they're classics for a reason.
Exactly. You know, there's a reason why all like the early Florida stuff, like all just the early American death metal, and even like just the early like Swedish stuff, like there's a reason why all of that has completely stood the test of time and are still like regarded as hallmarks of the genre. It's because those bands created lasting songs.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And like you say, were you kind of referencing sort of like really early death in like 1989, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely early death, Autopsy, fucking like early Morbid Angel stuff. I mean, you know, it's all just banging. So
even like later Death is dope too. I mean, when we were on the Black Dahlia tour, we had some really obnoxiously long drive. It was from like I don't even fucking remember. It was like
I
Salt
don't
Lake
remember
City.
either.
It was some.
Yeah,
It
we
was
were in
some
the
11.
desert.
We were in the desert. It was some like 11 and a half hour drive. We just listened to the entire Death discography, and it
I
was funny.
do
Like
honestly prefer Latter Death, but also Chuck never stopped writing like 6 songs. So
it's true. It's all dope. It's all just it's different after a point. But it was funny doing
yeah,
that discography run because I like before we did that. If you would ask me what my favorite Death material was, I probably would have said like Human or not Human. Like I probably would have said like Leprosy,
Mhm.
Spiritual Healing, something like that. But then after that, it's like I'm pretty sure at this point, like Sound of Perseverance is my favorite Death album, just because it's fucking awesome. Like it's the
yeah, that
playing
record is
and the
awesome.
songwriting on it is just like unbelievable. And I don't know, that band is just sick. Like I love Death. I have so much appreciation for that band.
Yeah, man. I think one of the best bands of all time, period. You know, like not
For
just
sure,
death
for
metal.
sure.
Like, you
Of
know,
like a band format, musicians like chamber ensemble. Yeah, dude, definitely.
it's really, really crazy. And for me, it kind of tosses up between, I think, Human, because obviously there was such a big kind of change, I think, in that one, both lyrically and musically, but also Sound of Perseverance, man. Those like the first time I heard those drums, where it's just like, I was like, what the fuck is going on? So what was it that attracted you guys to death metal in the first place, if you don't mind me asking?
Jeez. Well, I've been in a death metal for a really, really fucking long time. I just like it. It's good. And you know what? It's like really expansive, like musically. Like there's a lot you can do with the genre. You know what I mean? Like so many different ways you could take it. I think that it is really interesting in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember like the first death metal album I ever heard, but I know like right around the same time, one of my introductory albums into death metal was definitely None So Vile, Cryptopsy,
Oh
and
wow.
I think I was like vaguely familiar with the idea of death metal, but then like I heard that record and I heard like the Slit Your Guts riff and like Benedictine Convulsions and just all those fucking songs, and I was like, what is this? Like how can human beings make music like this? I wasn't aware. I guess like before death metal, I kind of assumed that all metal kind of just sounded like power metal, and then or like Scorpions or whatever, which is dope. I mean, I love all that stuff, but then when you're introduced to something like Cryptopsy or like Cannibal or even Death, it's just like, whoa, you know, I didn't realize that they were taking the shit this far.
So how did you guys come up with the name Undeath? Is it just kind of almost like what embodies everything that you guys are about? It's like the undead, it's death, it's just both of them together kind of thing.
Dude, that's definitely how the name came about, but it also wasn't the first pick. Well, I mean, it was the first pick out of like a big list we had, but we had other names for ideas before Undeath. But once we had that one come up, we were just like, yeah, that's got to be it. It's like a one-word name. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What was the really long one that we had?
Phylacteral binding ritual.
Yeah.
I'm really, really happy we didn't name our band that. And I'm also really happy we didn't go with Reliquary too, even though that's a good name, I think.
Yeah, Reliquary was like a phylactic binding ritual. I remember that one.
Phylactery. I invented a word, phylactoral.
Yeah.
Phylacteral.
Like the
Does that mean
it's like well, if a phylactery is like an object that a lich binds his soul to in D&D, so it's the phylacteral binding ritual.
Right.
If we had named our band Phylacteral Binding Ritual, you'd probably be interviewing both of us from prison right now.
Also true.
Well, let's just count our lucky stars that you're undead.
Yeah.
We just, I don't know, dude, like there's something so great just about a solid one-word band name, even if it doesn't really make any fucking sense. Like, I don't know what Undeath is. It's like a zombie, I guess, but like it just sounds cool, you know. And
A state of being undead.
it's a state of it's a state of mind, bro. Undeath is just a state of perennial
state
consciousness.
Speaking of death, right? If you guys had to be dispatched in one way that was based on a death metal song, what would it be? It can be either one of your songs or like someone else's song, but I'd be intrigued to see because
Oh man,
death
that's
metal,
hilarious.
I feel like the new like torture method du jour in death metal these days is boiling people. I don't really want to be boiled. That sounds horrible.
No, God Almighty, submerged in boiling flesh. That just sounds terrible.
There's that Sieve song. It's like boiled in piss. I don't. That doesn't sound appealing to me. They're not a death metal band, but that band Weekend Nachos has a song called "Just Shot in the Fucking Head." I mean, I think I would probably go that route. Like, you know, it's quick, it's probably relatively painless. Just get shot in the fucking head.
Fair enough. What about you, Kyle?
Oh my gosh, that is so hard. I am literally scrolling Spotify and just looking at Cannibal Corpse songs because I am like, what? How would I want to die? Is there a song name that's like "Die peacefully in my sleep"?
Euthanized at the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, how about Disfigured?
Is that song about a woman like cutting her own face off?
Yeah, I think it might be. I don't know if it's a lady, but sometimes I just picture it as George. I'm like, that's cool, dude.
You go. Do you guys ever just kind of like think, what the fuck is death metal? Like sometimes do you think it's just like it's gone a bit too far, or is it never far enough?
I don't have time in my day for thoughts as complex enough as that. I mean, I'm a fucking very stupid person. I can't. It takes me a very long time to consider anything, especially like where I am at any given moment. So I just try to roll with it.
I've had like, yeah, the philosophical idea of what is death metal. Well, it's like a type of music played with distorted guitars, harsh vocals, and I'd say it's based on Western harmony traditions set forth by Bach. I don't know, like it's just chill, it's fun, it's like raucous and rowdy, and you get to sing about stupid shit and fucking play heavy riffs. Like, I don't know, it's just dope.
I would
It's
rather
just fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it to you this way. I mean, I'd rather spend most of my waking hours in a van in a fucking mobile locker room, just breathing in 5 dudes' farts and going to a show and playing distorted guitar music for drunk people than sit in an office. That's my prerogative at
or
this
hurt
game.
my fucking hand.
Oh, yeah, or Kyle, or if you're like Kyle and you're catching a bag of grain the wrong way and your hand falls off.
Or like you slice it off with a fucking meat slicer in the kitchen. Like literally anything, dude. I fucking hate working in kitchens. I need, yeah.
Is that going to be the next album? Hand broken off by bag of grain.
Grain bag.
I mean, anybody that's worked in a restaurant or a bar can attest that that working environment is more brutal and disgusting than any subject matter of any death metal song.
So what's your like individually, what are your favorite kind of performances on the album? So like in terms of guitar, what's your favorite bit and what's your favorite bit in terms of vocals, Alex?
I don't know if I know like exactly, but a part that I do really like is honestly, I really like the head splattered chorus riff, like I just think it's a cool riff. It's got a lot of, eighth notes and little trem too on the like downbeat. So it like hits well. It's memorable. I really like the drum groove that Matt did for it. It's like some kind of like, I'm not sure. Like I don't want to try to sing it and make a fool of myself. And it's not like a samba beat, but it is some sort of like syncopated groove. It's pretty good one. No, it's not like it's more spacious than that. That's why I didn't want to sing it because I'm like I can't do it justice. It's so sick the way it is. So that part I really like. Yeah, it's not like the most crazy or the most exciting part, but I think it's just a really solid riff that sits in the back, and like all the instruments can like really shine around it, and like the vocals too. So
yeah, I love that part. I think vocally, my favorite performance on the record is probably just every chorus in Rise from the Grave, just because that was I love how it escalates in intensity every time. I love how that was really the first time I think that was the first song that I tracked vocally for the album. It was either that or Enhancing the Dead. But I love how that was the first time as a band that we've ever really done any kind of like high vocals or like mid-range scream. It's
Yeah.
pretty much just been like, you know, basement level like gurgling shit from the jump. And that was kind of the first time we actually tried to like do a breathier, more like higher vocal approach with the screaming. And I thought it turned out awesome. And I was definitely like pretty nervous going into that because I'd never really recorded vocals like that before, never really done screeching stuff like that. Well, it's not really screeching, it's more just like a high-ish scream. But I thought it turned out awesome. And I remember sitting in the control room when we were listening to the finished song, and I was really proud of it. I thought that was just a really cool moment. So that would be my pick, either that or the song Defiled Again. I really like how I recorded the vocals for that song. I think that especially like the last chorus are just like really fucking intense.
Going into this record, I remember we said we really wanted to get more vocal, not like timbres like from you physically, but more like you know, shit on the album that just sounds different like vocally. So which I'd like to try even more of next time. So I love all those parts. I think they came out awesome.
It's just fun. Like, I know some people might find it tedious, but like when you're recording vocals, there's just something hilarious about the screaming word like die or kill. And then I've got like Scoops, our engineer, in my ear, and he's like, all right, let's do that one again, but like just say kill like a little bit higher. And then, like I could hear Kyle in the background, like, yeah, definitely higher, do that one higher. It's just it made for a very entertaining like tracking experience, you know. So I definitely am looking forward to doing much more layering in the future.
I was gonna ask actually, like, you know, with them, obviously it's amazing kind of having the level of kind of support that you guys had for the first album and things like that. But is it kind of a bit like, oh, is this a bit like too much too fast? Like, do you guys ever feel that in any particular way?
No, because I don't think that. I mean, like, yeah, the record got a kilo of attention, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like Justin Bieber or anything like that. Like, we're not fucking like famous. So no, at least for me, I just think it's been chill. I mean, I do not really do that much social media anymore, so maybe Alex has like more input there.
No, I mean, I also don't really think it's been like overwhelming or anything like that. Honestly, like things have escalated for us. I know it seems really fast, like from an outside perspective, and I'm sure it is, and I'm not just realizing it, but like from my vantage point, I feel like every step that we've made as a band has in like an upward direction has happened very incrementally. And it's never been like, you know, I woke up one day and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, we've got like 100,000 million billion Instagram followers. And, you know, I'm getting booked on Jimmy Kimmel and all this shit. Like, it's just been like, I just feel like the story of this band is like every 2 or 3 months, just like something happens and I'm like, oh, cool. You know, it's just another like rung in the ladder. And obviously we're all like super grateful and appreciative for all that shit.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So I was going to also ask what does the release of It's Time Rise from the Grave mean to the two of you?
Well, I mean, it's my favorite release I've ever been a part of. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's cool. It's like, it's like cool. Like, I don't know. We put out a dope ass record that I'm really proud of. There's not really anything about the record I'd do differently. And I just think that it's cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think it's also my favorite thing that I've ever recorded. You know, I'm proud of plenty of other stuff that I've been involved with in the past. Like,
totally. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But that being said, like this record by far is like my favorite thing I've ever been on. You know, it's just it's awesome, man. I feel like when we were releasing Lesions, it was like you know, nobody really knew who we are and we had like who we were and we had this little bit of buzz going, and then we dropped this album and then all of a sudden people were asking like, who's this band? And now part of me feels like this album is kind of our way of saying like, yeah, like, you know, like the buzz was worth it, like the hype was worth it, like you can stick around, you know, like we're not just gonna have like one album and flame out, like we're kind of in it for the long haul. And that's why it's like so meaningful for me, because I feel like it's kind of like our mission statement in a lot of ways.
Congratulations on the record. It's an absolutely amazing album, like blew me out of the water. I can't remember what song it was, but it was the second I think it's the second to last track where there's like this ride sound. It sounds like a fucking bell. It's so cool, man. I love that bit.
Might be the anvil sample.
Yeah. Thinking
Oh, really?
In Bone Rot, yeah.
Yeah, and Bone Rot, yeah. It's a sample of an anvil being hit because the song is about like making armor.
Ah, right.
That's actually that one in particular. That's Tommy's song, actually. I believe Tommy and Alex worked on the vocals together too.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah. Tommy had like half of the lyrics written for that one, and he sent them over to me, and I just kind of like tightened them up a little bit. But yeah, I love that song, dude. That one's sick.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, thank you so much for, you know, appearing on the channel and like taking the time out of your day to come and have a chat and stuff. So I really, really appreciate it.
Of course, man.
Of course.
Thank you for having us. It's been a long time coming. I'm glad we got to finally do this.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, cool. Take care, guys.
All right. Take it easy, man. Thank you.
Bye.